Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
this gentleman was asking to be recognized.
Oh, hi. Good morning.
Public comment occurs prior to any vote. That's what the statute says. You just called for a vote.
She called for a vote on to accept the agenda. Was that your comment relative to the agenda?
Yes. All right, my name is Freddie Phillips. I'm here in representation of my concerns concerning the agenda. I've been following this board for at least 8 years through the sound out. And one of the things that I've noticed that there's no financial approval. Now, I sat on the auctioneer license board for 8 years, and one of the things we had consistently on there was the approval of the financials. But yet I don't see it on here, and it hasn't been on here. So my recommendation is going forward that this board would include the financials on there. If not, I've instructed Mr. Burns, who is willing to do what I've asked him to do and request those minutes every month and publish them so that the public can see where the financials are spent and what they're being spent on. So I'm just asking the board to put that on the agenda, because if I'm sure, based on what I saw at the House and the Senate, when asked about information, nobody could provide it. And as a result of that, I think the public need to know, and especially the members of this community, need to know where the money is being spent and what it's being spent on. If I ask some of y'all right now what the financials look like, probably couldn't tell me. So that's something that I'm requesting that this board going forward may consider and bringing that disclosure to the public so that they'll know where this money is being spent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, Madam Chair, I'd like to follow up.
What was your name? I'm sorry.
My name is Freddie Phillips.
Freddie Phillips.
Yes.
Good morning. Many of you know me as Robert Burns, some of you don't. Briefly, my background is I am an inactive CPA, so I too would echo the sentiments that there should be an approval of financials at every meeting. I will say that I was somewhat, or more than somewhat, taken aback at the apparent lack of knowledge of the financials for this board, and I believe that could be remedied by requiring an approval of the financials. As he mentioned, we served together at the LALB. That's what led to the formation of the blog that I now have. And at every meeting, we had what's called in the banking circles a daily flash sheet. All it is a printout of the ledger balances on that day. Nothing's made for adjustments, but it gives a good idea of where the board stands, both from a balance sheet standpoint and from an income statement standpoint. I think that.
What did you call it again? A daily flash?
It's called in banking circles a daily flash statement. You may want to call it a different name, but it's basically a printout of the ledger balances. And I appreciate you taking notes, I really do.
The previous month.
Well, it can do it by day. It can do it literally by day. And that's the way we did it at the LALB. For instance, if you printed one out today, the income's going to be next to nothing because we just started a brand new fiscal year. We're only 1 week into it. Obviously, it would be more meaningful as it goes by month to see how you're doing. I did not make a secret of the fact that I did not believe that the fee increase that was approved was warranted. I made no secret of that. I know at one time there were discussions to raise that fee to as much as $100. I think that the board was quite fortunate to get the $10 that it got, because as he mentioned, there's been no documentation whatsoever. Madam Chair, I know that after the meeting you asked me if I ever did get the documentation with regard to an estimated cost for the building repairs and also for the computer upgrades. The police provide you a copy. You may remember as I was scanning some other public records, you made that request to me. You have my word. You have my word. You will get that when I get it. I have made, on behalf of myself and Reverend Phillips, public records request of the Senate Commerce Committee. That was done to Ms. Yolanda Dixon because I find it a little bit incredible that it took less than a week to throw together something that these committee members were allowed the privilege to see. And here we are, almost a month after the session is over, and we can't see it. The public, I'm not saying they're not going to provide it, they need to. Ms. Dixon has indicated that unless senators provide specific exclusions for why they do not want it presented, I will get it. I'm not sure when. It would seem like it would be a fairly easy request since it was readily allegedly presented to each of these senators. I know it was not the board who did that. That's another interesting observation that I would make. But make no mistake, I intend to get whatever documentation was submitted to those senators, because that's what changed vote. I realize that when you bring in a prominent lobbyist like Ryan Haney, that changes everything, and I think it did in this instance. But I flatly do not believe that that fee increase was warranted. I'm gonna wrap up with this, because I don't want to indulge too much on your time. I don't have eyes in the back of my head. So when I gave testimony at that vote, well, twice to the Senate Commerce Committee and once to the Governmental Affairs, because that had to be reconciled, because it did call for fee increase. I don't have eyes in the back of my head. However, I do have the luxury of watching that testimony after the fact. I'm just going to tell you, I am an inactive CPA. I have analyzed thousands upon thousands of financial statements. It's what I did. It was my career. Okay? And yet when I made statements, I saw heads going back and forth. Those who did that know who they are. That would be tantamount, in my opinion, to me walking into a salon and getting next to a chair and saying, look, you're not doing this curl right. I would never do that because I don't know what I'm doing. And I would submit that those who had those heads going in a horizontal direction would have great difficulty obtaining a score of 30 on the CPA exam. I will close with this. I passed the CPA exam on my first attempt. I'm not bragging on myself, but I'm bringing this up only because having your knowledge openly questioned in a manner like that is not pleasing. It's an area that I have the expertise to speak on. I spoke on it. I realized it was not in agreement with what this board wanted. That's the way the cookie crumbles. I can tell you this, I'm pleased that he made that recommendation, and I will do as he has asked me to do. If it's not on agendas going forward, I am going to make a public records request for a daily flash statement for the date of the board meeting, and I'm going to publish it. Because I want not only the licensees of this board, they're owed a duty. That's their money. They're owed a duty. And I can tell you that there are many licensees who are not happy with this board right now. Look, I don't sugarcoat. I know the Advocate has published 2 fluff pieces within the last 3 weeks. One on Needle Corporation and another one on a new salon opening up that has a unique, something to do with the head. I read it, but I don't remember all the details. You know what I'm talking about?
I think I do.
Okay, it's something to do with the head. That's how unknowledgeable I am about the specifics of the industry. But I count on experts who do know, okay? I'm glad you do recognize it. So that was the second of the 2 cloth pieces. But that's not what I do. That's not what Sound Off does. And look, I try to make sure I report facts. That's why I make as many public records requests as I do. I don't like to go out there spouting off things I can't substantiate. I appreciate the opportunity to have addressed you, and I hope that what he has sought will be taken with what I believe should be the, and him indicating to put that for the next agenda sounds good, because I think most any board or commission does approve financials at every meeting. And as he said, I've been coming here 8 years,
Yeah.
and I've never seen it. Thank you so much for the opportunity to address you.
And just to comment back on what you're saying, we are in the process of getting that added to the agenda, but I'm glad you both came and recognized that and wanted it for the public, because we are planning on doing that. We're working on getting the right statement print out for you guys.
Very good. And then you made my day. Thank you very much.